Guys, and welcome back to the channel. And in today's video we're going card builder once again. These videos never do any fucking views on my channel. Neither has any of the fucking videos on my channel recently, probably because of that, probably because I'm just swearing in the first fucking 10 seconds, but I'm convinced I'm coping and just gonna say I've been shadow banned, because my last videos have done like 2k views each, and they've all gone 10 out of 10 on my fucking algorithm. So I don't know what's going on there, but maybe it's just because, again, I might be swearing too early in the videos. But regardless, card builders, I enjoy making them. You guys, the ones who actually click on the videos, the hardcore fans, enjoy watching them, because real fans want to watch Left Lane MMA yap about a fucking card builder. But we're not giving you one card builder in today's video. No. We can do better than that. We're doing two card builders. We're doing one for UFC Paris, bonjour, and we're doing one for UFC Noche. Like, we're doing that shit, yeah? So, Mikio, that's Italian, no. But that's what we're doing. We're doing card builders, and I'm going to take a little brief rant at the start of the video, because Dana White and the UFC, the reason why I'm doing this, and the reason why you're about to witness the best back-to-back pair of fight nights that you'll ever fucking see, is because we don't have a pay-per-view in September. We were originally expecting the pay-per-view to be UFC Noche, and we were going to get a fucking Shahier DEI title shot in the main event, and that was going to be dismal for all of us, and we would all hate it. Now, seemingly, unless the UFC decides to just change their mind, which they don't normally change, they don't normally add a pay-per-view to the schedule once they've already announced the date of another pay-per-view. Like, they've announced that UFC 320 is October 4th. UFC 319, in case you didn't know. If you don't know, now you know. It's fucking August 16th, kid, in Chicago. Badass fight. So that means there's literally like 6-7 weeks without a pay-per-view. So that's terrible. And so if we're going to go that long without a pay-per-view, let's talk about the run first. I will get into the card builders. This will probably be a bit of a longer video. But the run from 319 to 320 is going to be as follows. China fight night, week break, Paris fight night, Noche fight night. I would imagine another fight night that they haven't scheduled yet, because they don't normally do 2-week breaks. Then there'll probably be a week break, or week break after Noche, then a fight night. Again, we don't know where that'll be, if that's an arena card, if that's going to be some bum-ass Apex card. Then we got fucking 320. I would imagine we then have an Apex card, and then the following week we have a fucking fight night in Vancouver, Canada. And in case you thought I was going to be matchmaking a fucking card for Vancouver, Canada, they don't deserve my time. That talentless nation does not deserve any fucking portion of effort on my channel. So the China card's coming together. It's looking okay. But we need September to be saved. And I don't want an Apex. We should not be seeing the Apex in September. If you don't have a pay-per-view, you cannot be seeing the Apex in September. You can't do 2 fight nights in arenas and then an Apex card if you're not going to put up a fucking pay-per-view offering. So if we knew where the next fight night would be, and we got like a date for like the 20th, for instance, I would have added it to the video. But we don't have that announced. There's been rumors for a while going around about a Perth fight night, but schedule-wise, I don't know how they're going to manage to do that in September, because you can't really put Volk on a fight night. Whitaker's booked, JDM's got a belt, so all of our good fighters, because Australia has talent, unlike Canada, a lot of our good fighters actually have belts. Urseg's booked. Like, I don't know what the fuck this guy's doing. So I don't know what's going to main event either the September 20th or September 19th or September 26th card. We'll probably end up with some Apex bullshit. But regardless, yeah, fuck the UFC. First of all, I'm starting the video with a 5-minute rant. Fuck Dana White for not giving us a pay-per-view in a month. When's the last month that we haven't done a pay-per-view? Because everyone's like, oh, they're making it up. They're doing 2 in October. Guess what? They did fucking 2 in October last year, and they did 2 in June. So they're doing 2 in June this year and 2 in October. Alright, cool. So we got the 2-2. That's what they've been doing. They've been doing 1 pay-per-view every month, and 2 of those months have 2 pay-per-views. That's what they've been doing in 2023 2023, we got 2 in March. We got, obviously, the Jones Garn and then the Leon Usman. And then we got 2 in July with Shahier Volk and then Gaethje Poirier. That's ball knowledge. Guarantee you none of you fucking knew that. You probably did. But regardless, this is my point, is they've just taken away a pay-per-view off the schedule. So unless the UFC, and I'm going to talk about my Paris card in a second, unless the UFC just decides to say fuck it and just put just change Paris to a pay-per-view and just put Tom vs. Garn on there and just say fuck John Jones, which would be a fucking shame for Aspinall that he would have to have his first official title defense in fucking France. But it is what it is. Anyway, I'm going to stop yapping and get to the fucking card builders, which is what you hopefully came for. Anyway, let's get started. We're going to start off with the first fight of the night, go all the way up to my main event. Let's get started. Prelim opener, and I will warn you, these prelims are going to be fucking cheeks on this Paris card, because in case you didn't know and you hadn't had a fucking look around the flyweight, just the rankings in general, there's not really many fucking good French fighters outside of their top guys. Like, they've got Amavov, they've got Garn, they've got BSD. And they've got fucking no one, and they've got Ziam, and they've got and the rest are nobodies. Like, they've got no one else. So I don't know what they're doing. They cut Taylor Lapulus, who was actually good and off wins. They cut Gisette, which I get a bit more. But bro, we don't actually have a normal fight night card. I would say my Mexico card is gonna be 14 fights. This Paris card is only gonna be 12 because again, we don't fucking have Paris fighters. We don't have French fighters on the roster. I'll give you a spoiler. Manon Fiorot is not featured on this card. So apart from her, there's literally not enough French fighters to fill an entire card if they all get different opponents. Anyway, though, so this is the first fight. Daniel Perez, Felipe dos Santos. Perez is Spanish. He's fought on these cards before. It's about as close as you'll get. Little midget European. They'll put him on here. Plus, Felipe dos Santos, young guy, prospect, all that. Anyway, I'm going to skim through the rest of these fights because a lot of them are fucking irrelevant. Next up, this is a badass fight, kid, let me tell you. How do you not do Balaji Oki versus Jordan Vucenic in fucking France? This is actually a sick fight, though. Now, what's the kid's name? Balaji Oki fought in France his last time out against Chris Duncan and got guillotined in the first round. This is the battle of the Chris Duncan guillotine victims. How do you not make this fight? This is actually be a banger, though. These two could scrap on the feet. We could see grappling mixed in. Balajiok's last fight was real fun. For the most part, I do think Vucenic probably wants to strike if he does it, because he looked weak in the grappling against Duncan. So this would be a sick fight. Put this on the card. And again, we're going to have to get some fucking external support. We're going to have to get some external aid, Israel style, Ukraine style, just because they can't do it by themselves. So, that's the same with France in terms of building a fucking MMA card with their own fighters. You can build an Australia card, no problem, with Australian fighters. You could do that right now. You can do it with Russian fighters. You could do it with American fighters, obviously, Brazilian. Can't say the same fucking thing about French fighters. You don't have 14 of them on the roster. Anyway, let's move on to the next fight. Next up, we got the DEI women's prelim fight of the card. You always got to chuck in a random unranked / lower ranked women's fight. Nora Cornell, she's French. She's one of 2 French women on the roster. Manon Fiorot is the other one. I just don't think they're going to get her on this card opponent schedule-wise. They could. But I'd rather we only have one women's fight on the card. And if we're going to have one women's fight on the card, I'd rather just bury it on the prelims where you're not really taking a spot off anyone else. Because, which French fighter that doesn't exist are you going to put on these prelims? So I guess make this fight Yana Santos, Nora Cornell. Next, move on to the next one. Next fight, Iwan Coutaba versus Navajo Sterling again. No French fighters featured up until now, I guess, apart from Nora Cornell. But Bukauskas and Coutaba just fought on UFC 315. Navajo Sterling fought Ivan Arslan on the same card. Ivan Arslan has fought Ion Coutaba as well. So there's common opponents here. It's kind of just mix and matching outside the rankings. And again, with Coutaba, I could probably look at every other name and be like, yeah, he's probably fought them, hasn't he? I don't even know if this has happened, but I'm taking a fucking guess that he's fought Marcin Prachnio. I'm going to check that right now. If it hasn't happened, I'll be stunned. Because if it hasn't, you could probably book that fight too. But Prachnio might be booked. I was going to do one of these guys versus either Rafael Sequeira or Julius Walker fucking, what do you know? My genius just knows how to matchmake fights without even knowing if they're made. Because turns out I just checked Julius Walker and Rafael Sequeira are booked. So, anyway, let me just check. Ion Coutaba. I want to make sure, because this dude's fought like every fucking bum outside the rankings. So, I thought he beat Bukauskas his last time out, so I wouldn't mind seeing him get a step up. But I think Sterling's had 2 fights. It's kind of at the point where, like, you got to give him someone half decent, half notable. Coutalaba's got a name. Coutalaba would obviously bring some excitement in. My fucking Sherdog's refusing to load. Has he fought much in Prachnio? Surely he has. Surely he's fought much in Prachnio. These two have been hovering around the back end of the fucking lightweight unranked pool forever. There's no way they haven't fought. I guess not. So you could also make that fight too. Anyway, let's keep it moving on to the next one. Next up, we got William Gomi versus Sean Woodson. Would you look at that? We finally found a French fighter to put on the card. This is just a lanky fuck battle. You know, this is just some aliens, some weird fucking archetype humans. Not saying this would be the most exhilarating fight. No William Gomi fight is realistically, unless you just give him someone who like forces him to be fun. But I'm content to just put these two boring fucks up against each other. Put the two range merchants up against each other. We'll see what happens. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, featured prelim. This is a banger. If you don't know, now you know, kid. Let me tell about this kid, Andreas Gustoson. Kid's a fucking neo-Nazi, and I support it. How do you not give this man? Okay, I won't go there. But no, Nicholas Delby, Andreas Gustoson. This would be legitimately like a peak Marauder battle. These two would be going tard for tard, Maraud for Maraud, you know, big meaty hook for big meaty hook. Like, this would be the most cooked fight ever. Neither of them are French, but they're Scandinavian. We need European. They refuse to do a fight night outside of either London or Paris. So you might as well just say fuck it. If we're not going to fucking Sweden, or we're not going to Poland, or we're not going to anywhere, bring them all to fucking France or whatever. Bring them all to the UK and they can fight there. But no, this would be a sick fight. Yes, Delby got KO'd recently-ish. April, that's a good enough turnaround for him. And he's actually a good fighter, so this will be a good test for Andreas Gustoson as well. If he can beat Delby, like if this man pushes a pace on Delby and like gasses him out, then we're talking about this dude as like, he's actually a top, like he's a threat to the rankings. Anyway though, let's move on to the next fight. Next up, main card opener, Morgan Shahier versus Daniel Santos. Come on, give me credit, that's a banger. That's a fucking absolute heater. Daniel Santos has moved up to featherweight recently. He seems to want to stay there. Shahier always kind of gets put on these main card opener kind of spots. Like, they always want him to get that big finish to open up the card, or something like against Gabriel Miranda. They give him the kind of lower level guys. I was thinking like a Weston Wilson, but I'm like, nah. He's not a prospect anymore. We're past the point of just feeding this dude bombs. He had a competitive fight with Shahier Mariscal. Give him someone half decent. Daniel Santos looks good, upper weight class, so we'll see how that fight would go. Anyway, let's move on now. Now we're in the big fights, you know, the real badass fights, kid, let me tell you. Let's get started with those. Next up, I'm anticipating a pretty relatively damage-free, comfortable win for Umar Sy this weekend at UFC Atlanta against Alonzo Manfield, and after that, it's kind of just the perfect test, and I think geographically, where both guys are from, obviously, you know, if you're thinking where Umar Sy is from, you're probably looking a little bit more south if we're going ethnically, but that's all good. What's it called? Volkan Ozdemir, clearly, obviously, from the area, obviously. But Swiss versus French, you love to see. You just do this fight. There's not a tremendous amount of great Swiss fighters in the UFC. I'm sorry, Swiss, in the comments, my trusted moderator, who got banned for using a modified Nazi profile picture. So, free my boy. But I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you, Switzerland. Maybe they're just being held back on the regional scene, but we're not seeing them in the UFC. We've seen Ozdemir, and apart from that, you got fucking Valentin and Alil Latifi. So, but anyway, this would be a sick fight. I think this would be a great step up for Sy, especially if he looks good against Manfield. Like, if he goes life and death with Manfield and takes damage, you probably give him just a layup or something, or you just don't even bother with him on the card. But if you're going to Paris, which they are, it's booked, it's in. you need your guys on here. And if you can get another guy in the rankings, which he would be if he beats Manfield, that's when you're cooking. Because then you got your BSD, then you got your Amavov, you got your Garn, you got your Fiorot, and then you're looking to get Ziam ranked too. That's by, once you get to that point, is then you can just start doing these Paris Fight Night main cards with each of them, and they all get a ranked fight, and then you're looking at a good main card. Instead of like when you do the Canada situation, when you're just giving them fucking layups and just being like, or you just give them undeserved ranking shots, like Marc-Andre Barriault got Chris Curtis when he was top 15, or Mike Malott got Neil Magny, because they're like, we need to put these Canadians on the main card, so how can we justify it? Oh, we'll put them against ranked opponents. So it was all just like a bunch of unranked versus number 13 fights on the card. So that's what we're looking to do with the Paris guys. Get some of the French guys, get some of them ranked, and then we can actually start seeing some more stacked Paris cards. Anyway, let's move on to the next fight. Next up, we got Fares Ziam versus Grant Dawson. Again, it's kind of, this is just a placeholder really. It's Ziam versus anyone, ideally ranked. Grant Dawson does have that number 14 spot. I wouldn't even mind. Like, I know they both deserve their own individual spots, and there's no way Joel Alvarez would take this, but a Ziam Alvarez fight would be sick as well. Again, but also, yeah, you can't do, like, I would like to see one of them versus, like, a Moicano, one of them versus a Dariush, one of them versus a Gamrot, but, like, we're doing Gamrot BSD, that's just kind of where we're going, there's no spoiler there. But, yeah, and I know there's been some rumours of Dawson Alvarez. From what I was told, and from what, like, behind the scenes and shit not much that I know of, but Alvarez basically was like, I want to fucking move up. I can't be bothered cutting to lightweight. Like, this is just miserable. I'm 6'3". Let me not be as much of a weight bully, and I'll go up. And the UFC's like, yeah, no fucking chance, kid. You want to go up to fucking welterweight? Best we can do is Michael Chiesa, buddy. And so he's like, alright, well, okay, fine. And then they said, we'll give you something big at lightweight. And it literally, when this fight was kind of rumored and popped up, his manager or some guy, Spanish dude, related to, like, Joel Alvarez, as in public relations wise, knows what he's doing, right? Said, like, we have not signed this. This makes no fucking sense. Why would we do this? Because why the fuck would they stick at lightweight when they were promised something big if they stayed to fight Grant Dawson in the Apex? So I lean towards saying Ziam gets the Dawson fight, to be honest. Wouldn't be shocked if Alvarez gets it, but I would rather see Ziam Dawson in Paris than Dawson Alvarez in the Apex. Anyway, let's move on to the next fight. Feature fight. Jan Blachowicz, Alexander Rakic 2. They showed interest in rebooking this. Obviously, it was the first fight that Rakic got booked for when he... when he came back from injury. Jan pulled out with his shoulder injury that he had to get double surgery for, was out for over a year. Rakic got rebooked to fight Jiri Prohaska. Since then, obviously, Rakic has lost that fight. He's lost one more to Ankalaev. I still view him as one of the better guys in the division when he's on. Blachowicz coming off a relatively underwhelming, just underwhelming fight, not like performance from him, where he just kind of got kicked at range by Carlos Olberg. I thought he could have won the fight, to be honest. It was close. You can lean Olberg, but it was a pretty dead fight, and undoubtedly Olberg was the one trying to avoid combat at all costs. But Rakic-Jan rematch, I like to see it. Originally, I had this as a combination of Rakic, Jan, and Ozdemir, and to say any two of those fight, preferably Blachowicz on here, because I would like to see him retire. I want to see him go out, win or lose, in Europe. We're not doing the Poland thing. We should. It should happen. But the UFC is boring, and they don't give respect to any other legends other than fucking Carla Esparza and Michelle Waterson Gomez, who they'll run 5-minute fucking retirement promos for. But guarantee Jan Blachowicz gets a fucking Apex headliner or some shit against fucking Zhang Mingyang, and that's how he goes out. So it is what it is. Hopefully, though, this is what they do. Hopefully we can get as close to a good retirement as we can. If you put it in France, I'm sure we get some of his Polish fans over there. Anyway, though, let's move on to the co-main event. Next up, BSD Mateusz Gamrot. It's not what I would go with if I had the choice. I would rather we see both of these guys on the card, to be honest. We can make the card even more stacked with separate opponents. But you know that's not going to happen. This is kind of what's been happening. They've been calling each other out. They both won in relatively similar fashions on pretty similar timelines as well. Not really too many injuries to recover from. even Gamo called him out and was just like, yeah, I imagine that's what they do, probably us in Paris. This is not a main event. This is not a main event quality fight. This is a co-main event. If the card's stacked enough, it could even be a feature fight. But anyway, let's move on to the main event. We don't really need to talk too much about this. I'd pick Gamrot at this stage, BSD. His striking looks even worse than it was before. How did this man's striking look the best that it ever has? It still looked shit, but like, how did this man look the best he ever has on the feet against fucking Dustin Poirier when he used all the excuses? That's the best he's looked. And that was still ploddy ass BSD, but he's still fucking arguably 10-8'd Poirier in round. Not 10-8, but like dominated Poirier, I would say, in round 1 and then got KO'd in the second. Since then, I guess he's lost his confidence. That's the thing with BSD. Guys like them, just like they got all the confidence of the world. They're riding the aura, they're riding the momentum, and then they lose. It's like, oh fuck, now what do I do? Because they were fighting on steam. They were just fighting on confidence, and now I don't know if he has that. So we'll see what happens with this fight. Anyway, let's move on to the main event. Main event, I got two options. Now, one of them is, I can't even say one of them is more likely than the other. I'm just honestly thinking at this point we're going to get a fucking BSD main event. But if the UFC is smart and if the UFC actually cares about stacked cards and making sure the fans have a good product, what we will do, and this is, so the two options. I would say the less likely of the two. I don't think either of these two are going to happen. So even though I would call this realistic, we just know the UFC won't do it. If Garn doesn't end up fighting Aspinall, which all indications are he's going to, Jones is clearly ducking, he doesn't want the fight, we'll probably see Garn Aspinall. Now, if by some fucking miracle chance we do that on this card for an interim title, justice for Aspinall first of all, but would we complain about getting an interim, basically undisputed title fight on a fight night? Not at all. Doubt it happens. But off chance. Anyway, if the UFC thinks they're getting any closer with Jones and says, nah, sorry, Garn, we're just going to have to get you to fight on Paris, I think him and Sergey Pavlovich is a fucking tremendous main event European battle, just fucking large heavyweights. It's marketable. Again, Pavlovich is coming off a win now against Rosenstrike, who for some reason was cut. Garn coming off the win, I say win with quotations, verbal quotations, obviously, against Alexander Volkov that no one really thought he won. So yeah, either that or Amavov Baralio. Amavov is under backup duty for 319, but Dricus came out and, in the weirdest fucking thing ever, said unless it's less than 2 weeks' notice, he doesn't want to fight Amavov as the backup. He said he would just rather push back the Hamzat fight and keep that because that's the fight he wants. Now, this is not me saying he's ducking Amavov, but hey, what the fuck? What do you mean if it's more than 2 weeks you push back the fight? So you'd rather less of a camp? Weird. I guess it's like him saying, oh, they won't be able to find a new main event if it's 2 weeks less. But if it's more than that, I guess we just abandon the fucking card and leave this card out to dry. So that was a weird thing from Dricus. But I don't imagine Amavov's going to be needed. And even if he is, maybe, okay, it is tough for him to have to cut down, weigh in, bump back up, cut, and then cut down 2 weeks later. So I think, don't even weigh him in as the backup, but you have to because you can't trust Hamzat on the scales. So it is tough, and it would be an ask to just be like, Amavov, can you wait? Yeah, but anyway, I still think if we can't get a Garn main, because I don't want a BSD main event at this stage. You don't main event BSD coming off a win over fucking Kyle Prepelec, bro. And then yeah, main event Baralio Amavov. I think book this fight, fake some shit with the fucking weigh-ins or something, and just just fucking hope that Amavov's not needed, and just bank that and put your eggs in the basket, and then otherwise two events are cooked, because otherwise then you lose the Hamzat fight at 319, and then you would lose your Paris main event if Amavov has to step up to fight for the belt. But regardless, I think either of these two would be acceptable main events. I don't think, apart from Garn Aspinall, which I just highly doubt happens on this card, I wouldn't think of a main event that would be realistic and suitable and main event worthy. Anyway though, that is the Paris card right there. I took longer than I should have in this card because this is not my best work. This is just an average kind of getting good fight. I'm still happy with my work here. I still think this is some good matchmaking. I'm proud of Gustoson versus Delby as a fight that I made. I'm happy with myself here. But a lot of these are kind of layups. Like, you got French fighters. Some of them have rankings. Some of them are looking to get rankings. But I still think that's a pretty good overall fight card. That's 12 fights. You can probably chuck another few French regional guys on the. They'd probably get a few. They always kind of have someone or one or two people making their debut. But read out that card and tell me you ain't tuning in as a fight night for that. That would be a 5 a.m. Australia start time, as all the Paris cards are. I'd wake up for it for sure. I think the main card is tremendous. Anyway, let's move on, because that was just the starter. That was the fucking entree. The main course is here. UFC Noche, Mexico. Some of my best matchmaking work is about to commence. So yeah, stay tuned. UFC Mexico, Culon, Noche. Anyway, prelim starting off. Absolute badass fight to begin, ladies and gentlemen. How do you not make Antonio Traoli versus Jose Medino? Now, I know you're going to laugh at this and be like, bro, you said this was great matchmaking. You said this was going to be the best card ever. What are you on about? Now, hear me out. The rest of this card gets stacked from here on out. Okay, there's one more after this that's mid, but I feel like there's a compulsory, like, 2 shit fights on every fight night that just happen. Like, you just get the bum fights on every card where you're like, these two. You get those fights where you're like, why are these two signed to the roster? So, I honestly think this will be entertaining. Again, for me, this is less about just pure big name value. I'm just trying to make fun scraps because it's a fight. It's not a pay-per-view. If it was a pay-per-view, I'd be like, alright, name value, name value, name value. Got to focus on big names, pay-per-views, whatever. Make it worth it. Now it's a fight night. Just fun fights, and I think this would be fun. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. Next up, again, you need the DEI prelim of the card. It's going to happen. But I feel like if you're saying, wave your wands, create one unranked like women's fight / low-ranked women's fight to put on the card, we know they want to keep promoting Yasmin Hautegui. She's young, even though she's clearly mid as fuck, and she's been finished twice in the first round by lesbian Brazilians. It's clearly her ceiling. I'm going to need you to just not be straight, Yasmin Hautegui, and you're going to succeed immensely more in your career. But they seem to want to push her. They want to put her on these Mexico cards. And if you're going to give her someone, don't give her some bum who's just going to do nothing. Give her some bum who's going to run forward like a spastic and probably get finished. So Alice Ardelian had a great fight her last fight. I know I'm crazy saying that about a women's MMA prelim. But I think if you're going to give someone a spotlight on the prelims of a Noche card, make it this fight. I do think it would end up being relatively fun for women's standards. Anyway, let's move on, and this is where the goodness really starts. So, next up, Elvis Brener versus Rafa Garcia. How do you not make this fight, kid? This is a banger. Tell me this ain't a sick fight. Elvis Brener's just going to throw hands with anyone. As much as I want to be like Brener versus Ribovic or Brener vs. Torres. Like, I also want to give Brener a fucking break, dude. This man's gone through the ringer. He fought Zubaira Tukugov. I'm not saying all these are the best opponents. Zubaira Tukugov, Garam Kutataladze, who I now is proven to be kind of mid, but then he gets a layup with Krzyzewski. He was booked to fight Ribovic. Gets Krzyzewski, then he gets fucking Majtebek Oralby, and then he gets Joel Alvarez. And then they booked him against Daniel Zellhuber on that Mexico card in March, and he pulled out of that. And then Zellhuber was booked to fight, I believe the kid's name was Markel Medeiros, and then he pulled out of that. So then we got Medeiros versus fucking Austin Hubbard. Quite literally the biggest downgrade in history was Brener versus Zellhuber to Medeiros versus Hubbard. But this is a sick fight. Garcia fought on the last Mexico card as well. Made it way tougher than it should have been against Vince Pichel. These two are just going to box and just throw hands. No grappling needed. I think, genuinely, you put this card on, we see under 5 takedown attempts the entire fight. Like, the entire card. Sorry, not fight. The entire, if the whole card, we just do not see shots here, in my opinion. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, I'm cooking here. Shahier Delval. A lot of you people might not know the name. Undefeated Cuban featherweight prospect. Looked good in his debut. Submitted Conor Matthews in the first round. And I'm giving him C-Rod, because you know what we do when you need to check if someone's good? You give him to Christian Rodriguez, the undefeated checker, the undefeated record doubter or disprover. You know, he takes that O. Rodriguez's nickname should just be And One. Like, that's actually a fucking heat nickname for him, not gonna lie. Christian And One Rodriguez, like, that's kind of aura. Like, he's taken the O's of let's see, what's the kid's name? He's taken the O of Raul Rosas Jr., Cameron Simon, Austin Bashi, And the kid's name is Isaac Dolgarian. And there might be one more, but I'm missing it. Maybe I think there's 4, and there was one on the regional scene too. But yeah, give him Yadier Delval. It's that, or it's, what's the other kid's name? No, Delgado's not undefeated, I don't think. There's one, Emil. It's Haider Emil, but he's booked against Delgado to speak of. So we need to just find more undefeated featherweights for C-Rod. But this is the cycle. He just lost to a non-undefeated guy. We need to give an undefeated guy, see if he can get back in the win column. Or if Delval wins this, he is just legit. So great fight. Cuba versus Mexican heritage, I guess. C-Rod will walk out with the Mexican flag. Let's move on, though, to the next fight. Next up, again, badass fight. Okay, this is just going to be a scrap. Danny Silva, Fernando Padilla. I'm spitting out names you guys might not even know. This is ball knowledge required. You're a hardcore UFC fan, probably if you're watching my channel. I do believe I have one of the higher percentage hardcore fan bases on MMA YouTube, obviously. Smaller channel in comparison, but I really do believe... I think a lot of them do, but like... I think Kenny draws a lot of casuals. I think Guru probably does deserve it. Does draw a few casuals. Lucas probably draws some casuals. Bedtime, not too sure about his guys. Some of them are casual, some of them aren't. Who knows? But I do believe that anyone watching this video right now, you should know these guys. These guys have fought in the UFC again. I think this is like hardcore barrier standard. Like I challenge some other YouTubers. I'm not naming names. Not the Bedtimes and the Gurus. Obviously they know them, but like... There's some people that I don't know if they would know these guys I'm talking about. So this would be a sick fight. Fernando Padilla hasn't fought since the loss to Sean Woodson where he got smoked in a round. Before that, he looked alright. He did finish Julian Erosa, I believe, in his UFC debut. Danny Silva debuted against Josh Coulabout. He had one of the sickest fights you'll see in a while on Contender Series. Gets the contract, fights Coulabout in his debut, wins a splitty. Fights, I believe, Lucas Almeida after that. I'm not sure if there's one in between. Lucas Almeida fight made tougher work than I thought he would have, but still, this is another similar fight. These two are just going to chuck hands. Danny Silva, I think his nickname is like El Puma or some shit like that. Anyone who's got L as the fucking prefix to their nickname, EL, I'm assuming they got some fucking Mexican in there. Silva is good enough for me. Anyway, let's move on to the next fight. Next up, Chepe Mariscal versus Melquizael Costa. Now, a lot of you guys still think this is normally like a fight night main card quality fight. Not on this card. Not on this absolute fucking masterpiece that I've put together. But this is a sick fight. Tell me I'm not cooking with this shit, bro. Chepe versus Melky. Both of them are on good streaks. Chepe, again, you kind of both want to give him that shot up the rankings, but I feel like neither of these two are like undefeated prospects. They're both kind of just blue chippers that have just like worked their way up and had losses along the way. Obviously, losses in the UFC, both of them. Oh no, Chepe, I thought he lost to Morgan Shahier, but I think he debuted. Let me see if I can recite the run of Chepe Mariscal. He debuted against Trevor Peake. I then believe he beat Jack Jenkins when he broke his arm. I then believe he fought Shahier, obviously. And then there's the Ricardo Ramos fight. There's got to be one more in between there that I don't know, that I've forgotten. Chepe Mariscal. If I actually recited this dude's entire run, I'm a fucking hardcore fan. It hasn't been many. There's definitely one more I'm forgetting, surely. Because I know Ramos is the most recent one, I believe. If my fucking Sherdog wants to load, that would be brilliant. Let's check. We have to check this. It was Peak. Damon Jackson. Sorry, I forgot the Damon Jackson. He beat up Damon Jackson. No hairline, motherfucker. Anyway, though, let's move on to the next fight. This is to be sick. Melky's on a crazy win streak as well. Apart from he lost to Thiago Moises, beat Austin Lingo. I believe there might have been one more after that, but I think then he lost to Steve Garcia. He then beat Shahier Nudi and Beke. He then beat, the kid's name is Andre Feely. Then he beat C-Rod, and then again, most recently, he beat Julian Erosa. I'ma just flex on you guys and just make sure that's correct. I'm not even looking at this man's record right now. Let's pull up the Sherdog. And he wants to stay active too. So he fought in May, June, July, August, September. 4 months is a pretty good turnaround for him. And I don't believe he's booked either. He's 28 years old, turns 29 basically like 2 days after this card takes place. So make it happen. Chepe Melky, guys on a win streak, winner, gets a top 15 opponent. I just want my Sherdog to load so I can prove to you how hardcore of a fan I am. we're having a this is a self-glazed sesh right now for me to just tell you guys that I'm actually just brilliant at my job, which is not actually a job. But let me check. It was Thiago Moises, win over Austin Lingo, lost to Steve Garcia, win over Shahier and Mbeke, win over Fili, win over C-Rod, win over Oro. So I'm the GOAT, bro. Like, come on. No one's reciting the fucking UFC career of Melquizael Costa, bro. Subscribe to the channel immediately. Let's move on, though. Next up, another flyweight fight on the card. Most Mexicans are flyweights. They're all very small humans. But we've got Ronaldo Rodriguez Lazy Boy versus Jesus Aguilar. Now, it's very UFC to put this dude again on the main card after he's just lost. In my books, if you're some hyped up like prospect, whatever, or they're trying to promote you, fucking little bit industry planty kind of vibes from Lazy Boy, just randomly happened to fucking go viral out of nowhere after having not even... like, I'm sorry, bro. This dude had the most, like, forgettable debut ever against Denise Bonda at the Moreno Royval card. And then and then they put him on the Sphere card. I know he had a massive backstory, so I guess he had a following, but, like, he's got 2 million followers on IG. Has the fight with what's the kid's name? O'Day Osborne, the Jamaican motherfucker. Almost got chinned in the first, comes back, loses. So, like, I don't think we need to just keep pushing him immediately. Like, send him back, and unless these two are training together, which who knows which Mexicans are training together, they're all in one fucking big taco truck or something, rolling around doing jiu-jitsu or something, who knows. But make it happen. I think this is a good fight. You don't need to book them both separately. Neither of them are like crazy prospects that you're trying to build up. Aguilar's just a kind of dude. He's coming off the loss to Estevan. And yeah, make this fight. I think it'd just be fun. And it would be good to see because Aguilar's not like a sharp, crisp boxer. He's a midget. He's got like a 60-inch reach. He literally has like the shortest male reach on the roster. I think that's a statistical fact. 62-inch reach, I believe it is. So it'll be interesting to see if Lazy Boy is just that shit at defending punches that he can't even defend punches from a 62-inch reach individual. Anyway, let's move on. I cooked with this shit, bro. I'm just stop. Moment of silence. Yeah, you can applaud now. Bro, come on. David Martinez, Adrian Yanez, come on. Just subscribe now. Just hit the like. Just share the video. Just let it be known that I am the best matchmaker in the business. Who's making fights like this? I mean, it's a pretty common sense fight, to be honest. But no, Yanez Martinez, bro. This is sick fight. Like, come on, man. Martinez is relatively young, so like there's an element of like, and Yanez, but I'm past the point of us trying to like rebound Yanez. Like, he had his run. I can't even recite his whole run, to be honest, because he just fought a bunch of random fucks in the Apex. Like, I remember he fought, like, Tony Gravely or something. He fought Davey Grant and robbed him. I think he had another fight where he low-key was getting jabbed the fuck up. But, like, and then he lost to Rob Font. And I'm like, I'm past the point of us. And then he lost to fucking Jonathan Martinez. And then they fed him a fucking layup, Vinicius Oliveira. Looked mid still. And then they gave him Daniel Marcus and he lost. Like, I'm sorry, you gotta just fight or flight. Like, it's... we're past the point of you just getting unlimited fucking layups or whatever, or being a prospect at this stage. You're 31, you're not a prospect. Like, Martinez would be the up-and-comer here. Martinez would be the guy that the UFC's behind. You're just, at this point now, a regular bantamweight. Like, 3 years ago when you were on the come-up before you lost to Rob Font, you were a prospect. We were looking forward to you. But, like, yeah, it was like Randy Costa. I remember that was, like, hyped up on the, or the Tony Kelly fight. They had, like, some beef. There was a Gravely guy or whatever, I swear to God. Or Tony Gravely. How did I get Gravely from that? I'm retarded. I don't know where I got Gravely. There is a guy called that, I think. But yeah, Kelly, Davey Grant, Randy Costa, like, he got low-key checked in some of these fights, I'm not going to lie. And then that's why I picked him against Font, where a lot of people thought he was going to win. But David Martinez coming off that win over Simon Oliveira in his debut, I don't think this is too soon. Like, I think this is just a sick fight. Featured prelim. Get the eyeballs on it. And yeah, come on. Make it happen, UFC. Let's move on, though, to the main card. Next up, it's just a thing at this point. We know Raul Rosas is going to be there. We know he's going to be on the card. By the way, Raul Rosas' UFC resume, in case you were asking without me searching it up. Jay Perrin, round 1 submission in the debut. Might have been round 2. I think it was round 1. Lost the UD to C-Rod. Next fight, round 1 TKO over, the kid's name was Terrence Mitchell, you'll find in his next fight after that. Then they give this kid, this fucking goofball bum named, what's the kid's name? Fucking Ricky Tercios. Subs him, second round, I believe that was. Then they give the kid, what's the kid's name? Not even a kid, Vince Morales, and he wins a UD. I'm probably forgetting a fight there, but still. Rosas hasn't been overly active. It's at this point, they're kind of just putting him on Mexico cards, to be honest. Damon Blackshear's run. Yeah, no, what's next question, buddy? I don't fucking know. I just know that the last fight, I can recite from recently backwards. It was Alatong Haley. Before that, it was Cody Gibson. Before that, he got KO'd by fucking Montel Jackson. Before that, he had this close-ish fight with Bautista, where I thought he won. And then before that, it was a Jose Johnson submission. Before that, it was a Luan Lacerda finish, I want to say. And that's about as far back as I can go. I know we had a Yusuf Salal fight in there someday. No one in this watching this video right now fucking knew that Damon Blackshear fought Luan Lacerda on the Kaikara France versus Amir Al-Bazi UFC Apex Fight Night on June 11th. No, and I didn't look that up. I fucking just recited that off. It might have been June 2nd, actually. Let me check. Damon Blackshear. I'm actually just the GOAT. Like, this whole video is just me flexing ball knowledge. But let me check Damon Blackshear's resume. So yeah, as I said, Alatong Haley, Cody Gibson, Cody Stamen on my bum, I forgot. He was on a win streak, because I forgot he was beating a bunch of Codys. Yeah, as I said, Montel Jackson, Bautista, Jose Johnson, Luan Lacerda, as I knew, obviously. Basher, I forgot the Basher. Basher was a good fight. Before that, it was the Zalal fight. And yeah, the Luan Lacerda, June 3rd in Australia, so that means June 2nd in America. So yeah, I knew, bro, I knew. Anyway, let's move on. And again, I think we're past the point of just giving Rosas these fucking freebies. Like, I know he's young, but like, how many fights does he have? Like, let's double check Rosas. Like, I want to just make sure. And he's been in the UFC since the end of 2023. Like, it's not like this is like his first year in the sport. He's coming up on 2 full years in the sport. Like, he's 20 now. You're into real age now. Like, I'm not, like, obviously, he's still, like, literally the youngest fucking fighter on the roster. But still, like, you got experience now. Joshua Van, they debuted. I'm pretty sure, wait, hang on. Was it 2020? It's 2022. Yeah, you've had 2.5 fucking years. It was, as I said, Aori Tralang. Did I forget that? I think I forgot the Aori Tralang. So what's this? He's had 6 fights in the UFC. Josh Van debuted in June 2023. He debuted 7 months after you. He's about to have his 9th fight. Or he already has 9. I don't even know. Anyway, past the point of layups, that's my point. You gotta actually fight or flight. Like, not like we're giving him fucking, like, Said Nurmagomedov, but like, you gotta just win. Like, if you don't win, I don't know. We just kind of you had the loss. If he still hadn't lost, and we're trying to still make sure he doesn't take that loss, like, all right, cool. You took one. If you take another, it's just kind of proof that you're not that good. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, I'm happy with this one too. This is just solid matchmaking. Again, this could be a prelim fight, and you could argue that Chepe Melky should be on the main card over it, and I kind of agree. But I know the UFC and I know how, and I guarantee you, if this exact lineup of fights get booked, which it won't, because the UFC just doesn't care about their product, and they don't make the best cards possible. That's why you got fucking YouTubers like me and Lucas and Bedtime making better card builders than the fucking matchmakers. But I guarantee you, if they had this lineup, Edgar Chairez is getting put on the main card over Chepe and Melky. Guarantee you. And you know how I know? Because C-Rod and Melky was on the prelims under Chairez versus fucking CJ Vergara. So, like, it's just is what it is. They like Chairez. I guess he's got a bit of a story. He was like a Mexican he was like a lawyer for the Mexican cartel, which is kind of like crazy or a backstory. But this would just be a cool fight. Again, you can sell the Borjas beat Lazy Boy, obviously, so you could say Chairez is getting revenge for his Mexican brethren. Even though, who knows, maybe Mexico... Yeah, you can never know with Mexico. Like, they're either brothers and they're close, or they're, like, opposing gang members. You don't know. Anyway, let's move on. This is some of my best work again. I'm going to take 5 seconds. Yep, I expect you to applaud in that time. If you didn't already, I'll give you another 3 seconds. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Esteban Ribovic versus Manuel Torres. Come on, bro. This is a banger. This is in my opinion Ribovic El Huber, but like upgraded because Torres has more power and I feel like he's a more game fighter. Like, Zagula throws a lot of output, but like if he has it his way, to me he's like an output, like outside range striker. Not like an Adesanya boring fucking stain on the sport, but like a kind of, he'll push it at his own pace. He's not going to just tee off on you unless you're fucking really hittable and just running into his face. But this fight is sick. Manuel Torres Esteban Ribovic. I thought Esteban got for also Esteban's UFC run, just in case you wanted to know. I'll tell that for you right now. You don't need to look it up, don't worry. Debuted with a loss against Loic Rajdabov, rebounded with a nice win against Kamuela Kirk. Then he took a while off and he got a nasty KO over Terence McChinney. Then they chuck him straight in there in that fight of the year candidate against Daniel Zellhuber, and then since then his fifth fight, obviously that Apex contest where I believe he got robbed against Nasrat Hakparast. The dates for those, by the way, UFC 285. The Jones card. Jones Garn was his debut. 290 international fight, which was the one after that. He then fought obviously on that St. Louis card against McKinney. UFC 306, and then obviously UFC Vegas 103, which was on March 1st, believe it or not. So yeah, I just know this dude. I just know people's careers, you know. If you ever need to know a fighter's backstory, just comment it and I'll get back to you before you even get the chance to look it up. But I'm taking the piss at this point. Manuel Torres, can't tell you I know Manuel Torres. He fought some early bum in his career, and then it was like Nicholas Motta. And then it was fucking, I only remember from the Motta fight. It was Motta, and then he got chinned by Bahamondes, and then it was Dober. It was just Dober after that. So I don't remember as many Manuel Torres fights, if I'm being honest. I know he fought that bum in the Apex that he KO'd though. I just forget the kid's name. Anyway though, this is just a sick fight. Like, this is fight of the year written all over it. I'm making this card and I'm matchmaking like 5 different potential fight of the years. Like, come on. Anyway, let's move on. So I just forgot that he also fought Duncan on that Mexico fight night Moreno card. The Moreno Roval as well. And the Apex fight, I was thinking about the bum old fuck. Even sounds like an old guy. Frank Camacho. That sounds like some unk fighter. Anyway, though, let's move on. As I said, to the feature fight of the card, and it is Leon and bruv, I was sleepy, bruv, versus Michael. Stop trying to fucking flirt with me, bruv. That's what Leon's gonna be saying to Michael Morales. Judging off that car video, if you haven't fucking whatever that was, that came out after his win over Burns, you know, with just some traditional Ecuadorian culture, I'm sure. It's like, is he gay or is he just South American? Is he gay or is he Latino? Like, that's just like, is he just zesty Latino? Like, that is the question that you got to ask there. But this is a sick fight. Now, co-main, I wouldn't complain. Now, the way I've stacked this card is, if we don't get the current co-main or the main event, it would take a hit, but it would still be a good 1-2 punch at the top. But this is a 1-2-3, and then you got the 4 behind it with Ribovic. And the whole card's good too. But like, if you're looking at like big stake fights, you got the 3 at the top, and you got this one, and then 2 more I'm going to talk about. And again, the fact that it's no longer a pay-per-view gives them even less excuse to make it stacked, because you should be making fight nights. It's easier to stack fight nights than pay-per-views, because fight nights you can just chuck a bunch of ranked fighters on there. Pay-per-views, it's kind of like, okay, you do Yair Volk, I guess, bullshit title that no one cares about, and then you got people complaining, and then what do you do in the co-main? Like, you can't really get away with like a Moreno co-main. If they speak, and that's the thing, is because, spoiler, I'm putting fucking Diego Lopez in the main here. But if it's like, if you do a Volk Yair main, you do Lopez versus, I guess, Gene Silva in the co-main, like, that'd be cool. But like, anyway, you get the point. Morales versus Leon, great fight. Needs to see it. Want it to happen. It'll be good. Let's move on though to the next one. 5-round co-main event, Brandon Moreno versus Kyoji Horiguchi. Now, this is basically confirmed in my mind. Now, there's been no reports, there's been no rumours. In a brief conversation with a person who I wouldn't consider a source because they never tell me anything, but I can sometimes get them to kind of give me a hint about some shit. I was asking about Van, and I was like, what do you reckon's the go with Van? And I was like, Moreno, and he's like, nah, just a hunch. Someone's probably pulled out. I'm not sure who, but that's my guess. And then logically, my thought process now, seeing that Van is now fighting Roval, is because he didn't know that Van was fighting Roval, but he knew Moreno was fighting someone else. And he knew Moreno is fighting Kyoji Horiguchi on that Noche card. I am very confident this is happening. Like, I'd say like a 85-90% confident. Assuming Kyoji's not injured. If Kyoji's ready to go, which he pulled out of the fight with Shahier on Baku, which was a dumb fucking booking to begin with. Even if he wasn't injured, I would have still supported him just pulling out as like a fucking protest and being like, oi, why the fuck are you giving me Tagirul on Bekov in Baku as my return fight? Like, fuck off. But now they're giving him Moreno, and I have a feeling this might end up being the main just because Yahir's going to fucking duck Lopez as he's been doing, and we might not even get Lopez on the card, which would be tragic. But if we do get a Lopez main, 5 rounds, I'm okay with 5 round co-mains. These are the type of fights I'm okay with 5 round co-mains. Again, even BSD Gamo, like I talked about on the Paris card, I'd be okay with that as a 5 round co-main, just not a main. Like, the fights can still be 5, but just don't make it the headliner. Moreno Kyoji would be a cool headliner, but like, you know, it's just like, some people are going to be like, who's Kyoji? There's going to be the casuals, you know. But this is a banger. Like, and again, I originally was like, oh, Van Moreno, that'll be sick. But obviously Van's fighting Royval. I might drop a separate video about that tomorrow or the day after. We'll see how dead this video is doing my algorithm, because it forces me to upload daily if the videos are doing shit. But if a video does well, I can kind of leave it for another day. But anyway, Van Kyoji's a fucking banger. Like, I don't know if people have been floating this idea around. I think I was the first one to do it after Van actually fought. The kid's name is Steve Erceg in his most recent fight, obviously. And we knew by that time that Kyoji was coming back. There were rumors floating around about the Tagir fight. I was like, fuck all that. Kyoji versus Moreno is sick. Like, that's a banger. Anyway, let's move on to the main event. Obviously, the main event we all want is Shahier versus Diego Lopez. Now, that's why I'm putting this on the screen. Do I think this will happen? No. Because do I think Shahier is blatantly ducking Diego Lopez? Yes. That's what I believe. That's what should be very fucking clear to anyone who has critical thinking skills. It's just clear ducking. Like, he literally is just, like, openly being like, it does nothing for me. Why would I take the fight? I want to fight for the belt. And it's just like, yeah, cool. Except for the fact that, if you take a look at the fucking rankings, he's actually 3 spots ahead of you. So you should probably shut the fuck up and do what you're told. You do what you're told. You little bum. Little crybaby merchant. You little fucking fool. Ducked Zabit, and now you're fucking ducking Diego Lopez. Absolutely embarrassing behaviour. But, yeah, Lopez, again, it's like, if it's not Shahier, if we do Shahier Volk, it's just fucking retarded. And then you guess they do Evloev Pico. If they don't, I wouldn't even mind Lopez Evloev. Again, if we're going to not give Evloev a title shot, at least do it against, like, in a fun fight, and do it against Lopez. Otherwise, it's like Allen, I guess. There's been Allen versus Gene Silva rumors floating. There's been Allen versus Aljo rumors floating for the longest of fucking times. Even a Diego Lopez, Lerone Murphy. Now, God forbid Lerone Murphy gets a fucking win on UFC Noche against Diego Lopez. But again, worst case, this is basically just a Lopez versus whoever, and the preference is obviously Shahier. But anyway, guys, that video went way longer than it should have. But that's what happens when you give me matchmaking powers, because I yap and I prove, and I just fucking flex my ball knowledge, and I make bangers. So that's left lane card builders for you. Again, read out that fucking card, bro. I don't even have it in front of me. I think I can just recite it off my head. Main event, Shahier versus Lopez / Lopez versus anyone, whatever. Co-main, 5 rounds, Kyoji Moreno. Feature fight, Morales versus Leon Edwards. 4th fight on the card, Ribovic versus Manuel Torres. 5th fight on the, or 2nd fight on the main card, I should say. Shiras versus Kevin Borjas. Main card opener, Chihuihuas versus Damon Blackshear. Featured prelim, I believe I said David Martinez, Adrian Yanez. I don't know the order, but we got Chepe Mariscal versus C-Rod. We got Delval versus, who did I even say again? Fucking some mech. Oh no, Delval versus C-Rod. Chepe versus Melky. You got, what's the kid's name? Padilla versus Danny Silva. Garcia versus Brener. This is just a sick card, bro. Come on. Tell me this is not a banger. I don't want to see any bullshit. Anyone else try and make a fucking Mexico card builder better than this, because they won't be able to. And if they do, I'll give them respect, and I'll say if it's better, but it won't be, because it's just impossible to outdo this, to be honest. Because guys like Zellhuber's booked, Obviously, all the fucking Mexicans in the flyweight division that Tyra's been running through, they're all booked because the whole flyweight division's booked. And there's not really any, and I'm not doing Grasso on the card. You can put Grasso. We're not doing Aldana on this fucking, like, I'm sorry, bro. If there's some nerd asking for an Arena Aldana feature fight, we're not doing that, buddy. But anyway, that'll do it, guys. See you later. Drop some more video ideas you guys want to see too. And also, our boy Josh Van getting the win. UFC 317, let's go. Anyway, see ya.